Welcome all to this week's Stew Review with myself and Toby Hopkins.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning.
All good. So we're going to quickly just start today before we move into things on a couple of small amendments from our last broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
I have one where I was talking about a T-Rex running rampant in New York in Jurassic Park.
Which one?
Turns out upon further research that it was actually San Diego, not New York, where the T-Rex was running around. And it was actually in Jurassic Park 2, not Jurassic Park 3.
Okay.
Apparently so. So basically the franchise was already falling apart by its second instalment, not its third.
And talking of part twos,
right, okay.
we did mention
Is there more?
the airlock issue of in the Alien film.
Was
and
this
that was in part two.
That
not
was in
three.
part 2 as well.
Yeah, Aliens, which is.
Well, maybe we should probably do a feature on kind of disappointing second films we thought had bits in that were so bad they were only destined for a third film. Seeing as we've done it
I
twice.
also did make a mistake on saying that the Fast and Furious 7 film didn't need to use CGI, and they actually did. They're only halfway through filming when sadly the Walker actor died, and they've had to do a lot of body double work
So,
and CGI,
right, so
including using his brother apparently.
Oh right, who presumably looks quite like him, or they told him to get the same haircut.
Presumably he does, yeah.
Oh right, okay. So yeah, something similar. Was it the Imaginarium of Dr. Panasius, Terry Gilliam film? Was that the one he
did it much more.
Where he basically got a load of new actors in and completely changed.
Yeah, he did it much more creatively, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with those amendments out the way, should we start the broadcast vaguely proper? And
Yes.
To just find out, and Toby, how's your week in film been? Any interesting things to note since our last recording?
Well, kind of oddly, my highlight film-wise of the week was I was roped into doing a pub quiz, lassoed into it really. A very busy, big one, and normally I'm awful in them because my general knowledge is modest at best, and I'm only any use to the team I'm in if there's a film round.
Okay.
What do you know? There's loads of film questions.
Really?
Right,
Brilliant.
so we're storming away. We've got a literary expert on our team. We've got a political expert. We've got a couple of journalists, and we also had a comedy slightly drunk, or slightly autistic character who came up. I have to say, he came up with 3 corkers that nobody else knew. Just bizarrely, but we had to kept telling him to shush because he had this thing where he was not. Where he was announcing the answers loudly. By the end, he kept doing it. The whole team were going, shush! And then I was encouraging him to say the wrong answers loudly. But anyway.
Yeah. So the question is, what was the best answer you reckon you got over the course? Any?
Well, I got quite a
favourites?
few. Well, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence,
Okay.
which is quite an oldish film, which I knew. The lot. So, like I say, we were storming it. We were heading for the winner's hamper, and what do you know? The last round was James Bond themes. I thought I was rubbing my hands inside.
This is on the back of you throwing or casting away the James Bond franchise in our last recording.
But the trouble is, so there's a cloud to the silver lining.
Okay.
I fell apart. At
well,
this point. I mixed up.
It's karma, Toby.
I mixed up Diamonds Are Forever with Goldfinger. I mixed up Shirley Bassey with Tom Jones. I couldn't remember Carly Simon. I couldn't remember The Spy Who Loved Me. I kept trying to think, what's that film in the 80s?
That's it. They're coming back to haunt you now, Toby. After your panning of the James
I
Bond
know,
franchise last
you're
week.
right.
If only you'd stood there and gone, I love James Bond.
Yeah.
I watch every single one. I love
Yes.
the cliche-driven narratives.
So I fell apart. I think the tension got to me, and we ended up losing the winning spot by 3, maybe 4 points. And if I kept my cool on the James Bond,
so can we maybe take an agreement, then, Toby, that for the record for this, just as a slight, think back to James Bond.
Yeah.
Maybe you should watch the next film when it comes out, and
just in case.
hear your thoughts on it.
Right. Okay.
Just as you know, just
a
to level out.
A karmic amendment.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Karmic amendment. Just to, you know, it's stung you for your dislike
Yeah.
of the franchise previously. So you should give something back to the.
I hadn't thought of that.
To Pinewood Studios or whoever's making it still. Okay. Any other points of note? How was Did you ever look into our guesses on the Mad Max budgets at all?
I did.
Okay.
I did, and it was kind of delightful because we were both right, even though we gave different answers.
And how
in
did
the
that work?
sense that you guessed 100 million,
Yeah.
and
You went 150.
and they planned to make it for 100 million,
Oh, right.
but then it ran over budget and it cost 150 million.
Okay.
So we were both right. What a team!
That's the kind of quality. That's the
yeah,
kind
we're
of
back
quality
to
you
top
get on
quality.
film.
Yeah.
None of this mistaking
Recording.
part 2s for part 3,
Yeah,
the terrible
yeah.
narrative tools in part 2s for part 3s,
We're back online.
or forgetting or not remembering the James Bond film music.
Yeah.
But when it comes to guessing the budgets of Australian
We're your
action
men.
films
We're your
previously
men.
starring Mel Gibson. We have to take a next guess at the next Mel Gibson one and see how that comes out. Okay, right. So the main point of, two main points of discussion. Well, the one main one in terms of what's actually happening in the world outside of where we're currently sat is the MTV Movie Awards are coming up at some point in the next few weeks.
Kind of irrelevant after our awards,
well,
really.
kind of irrelevant in the sense that we were going to talk about it last week and we ran out of time. So we're just kind of rolling it on into this week. But we're going to start with it to make sure we can get it in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically, these awards, they're voted for by the US MTV consumers, which are essentially
Online,
American teenage girls, which explains the dominance of kind of young, white, chiseled 20-something males throughout pretty much all the lists. The nominations are selected by MTV executives, so they generally have a vested interest in ignoring the world outside of this American teen bubble, which again explains an awful lot of what we see is in here. However, I did notice looking through it, given their target audience, it is nice to see a little bit of deviation. The Guardians of the Galaxy, which was roundly cited as being a very good film last year, hasn't really turned up in the BAFTAs and the Oscars, but has got some decent mentions in this one.
Yeah.
As also did The Fault in Our Stars, which again I think was fair. I mean, in terms of teen films out last year, I generally got the feeling, having not watched all the teen films out in the last year, that seemed to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest, teen-based film.
There are a couple, excuse me, in the nominations mentioned that I haven't seen. There's one that I haven't even heard of.
Oh, right.
I don't think it's actually out yet.
Okay.
I haven't double checked this, but it's a film called Top 5. So when that comes up in the nominations, I can't really discuss it. But
okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, the other thing was, did you watch The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, Toby? Did we?
Yeah.
At some point. I mean, obviously that one does make an appearance in which. Again, I had a look back at some of the previous MTV nominations, and I mean that one. I mean, The Hunger Games is a very popular franchise, and it's been pretty much cleaning up at these awards, all of the previous instalments.
But what can I just say? What I'm going to do for my picks is after my disastrous Oscar predictions.
So you're not
I'm just going to go my own.
You're not going to put your own head in the body of a sort of 17-year-old American girl.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
yes.
Maybe I'll try and put myself in the body of a 17-year-old
okay,
American girl.
You do
try and make those guesses then.
I'll do the Toby. Yeah.
So basically, it's going to be lots of Zac Efron. Essentially, that's all I need to do. Right. Okay. So we'll start with. I'll just go through the list as it was announced. So we'll start sort of most important, going down the list pretty much. So they had their Movie of the Year award, which I'll read through. I'll go through because this one is quite important. They had American Sniper, Boyhood, The Fault in Our Stars, Gone Girl, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, Selma, and Whiplash. So out of those, Toby, what's your favourite? I mean, strange enough, actually, no Birdman, no Theory of Everything. And no old Benedict Cumberbatch turning up in The Imitation Game either.
No.
But out of these,
American Sniper.
Yeah, you're going to go. It's going to get its just reward, even if it has taken to the end of awards season.
It's hugely popular in America. I'm not going to go into the minds of Americans. I'm just going to say my choice. So
American Sniper.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do the kind of teenage girl thing, and basically on the grounds that I had to look back, Hunger Games. I think Catching Fire won last year. although it was in quite a weak field when I did notice. I'm going to say that the Hunger Games, although I think The Fault in Our Stars from that perspective should win, but the Hunger Games is very popular amongst their kind of target audience, so I think there's a good chance that may take it. Best male performance was Bradley Cooper, Ansel Elgort, Chris Pratt, Channing Tatum, and Miles Teller. So is this going to be the time the Coop?
I've got to keep with the Coop.
Well, yeah. I mean, I will say actually, he again when I look down the list from the Best Actor, BAFTA, and Oscars, he's the only person that got on the nominee lists for the BAFTAs and the Oscars.
Yeah.
Everyone else are new appearances.
But yes.
I presume Keaton's just a bit too old to be attractive to young girls, and Redmayne was probably a bit too skinny and a bit too disabled in the theory of everything to be considered attractive to teenage girls.
Yeah, I think that's a shoo-in. I think actually.
Yeah, I reckon so. Again, I did have a look back actually, and I think Bradley Cooper won it. He may well have won it last year as well. I have a feeling.
Oh, did he?
I think he may have done. Or he won it 2 years ago or something. I have a feeling he did. I don't. It's not in my notes.
American.
I can't remember.
American Hustle. What was it?
Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh yeah.
Which also again Jennifer Lawrence won. That could have been 2 years ago though. I think actually Cooper might have won it with that one. Anyway, best female performance: Scarlett Johansson, Jennifer Lawrence, Emma Stone, Reese Witherspoon, and Shailene Woodley. Your pick out of those?
Yeah, I'm going to keep with Reese.
Oh
Witherspoon.
yeah, you were going along with Reese Witherspoon all the way through our previous.
I'm just going to stick with it. She probably won't win, but I'm going to stick with her because that was my favourite one. Yeah.
Well, I said I'm going to stick with going from the target audience perspective. Yeah. I'm going to again stick with Jennifer Lawrence, who won it last year for the previous. She won it last year for Silver Linings Playbook, and I think maybe the previous year she won it for the last Hunger Games, or the other way around, whichever way they came out. So I think she's won it.
Which
the
film
last
was she
2
in?
years.
Which film was she in?
Silver Linings Playbook. I think that might have been.
No, I
2
mean
years
this year.
She was in the Hunger Games.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, of course.
Yeah, so I mean, I think people might feel a little bit sorry for her after the whole photo hacking.
That was a James Bond round 7 moment there. Yeah.
Who's that person?
Who's Sean Connery?
Okay. Let's move on. Breakthrough performance. I won't read these ones out, just because we don't really need to.
No.
I don't think we've done the important ones. Breakthrough.
Dylan O'Brien in Maze Runner. I think they'll go for him. And
do you reckon
he was quite good?
Is that a target? Because I was thinking about this actually when I looked at it, and I thought, I'd have thought looking at that, Rosamund Pike potentially has the brightest future in terms of what's going on at a later date.
But breakthrough, surely.
I mean, she's been around for a while.
Yeah.
But she's nominated though, so. Does that count? I mean, I was looking at the other ones thinking, most of those people probably aren't going to appear in much again, ever. Rosamund Pike might do. That was what I was...
She comes up later.
So you're evening the...
Yeah, Dylan O'Brien.
Okay, best scared as S asterisk.
Yeah, that's Rosamund Pike.
Sorry, I just have an issue with that title for a nomination.
Well, this is MTV.
I don't care if they're aiming for a youth audience. I mean, the point is they're doing it because they know they can't broadcast it. Just, be a bit more creative in your language.
It's a shit title, yeah.
It is, precisely. And there's another one later as well, which annoys me.
I know, I agree.
So I don't care. They should just change the name of that.
So let's just rattle through them.
Either use the words or don't use them.
Yeah.
Don't just put a couple of asterisks in.
Rosamund Pike.
Okay.
Gone Girl, because it was as a bloke you would think, oh my god, because she's a nightmare.
Yeah. Okay. So. Best on-screen duo.
Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill in 22 Jump Street.
Sounds like a good call.
It's a really good rattle along.
Zac
film.
Efron does make an appearance in this. He does make an appearance, although Neighbours was an awful film.
Yeah, it was.
So the problem is, does the fact that
I didn't get
most girls fancy Zac Efron outweigh the fact that Neighbours, or Bad Neighbours it was here?
Well, you can do the teen.
It's going to be Tatum. It's going to be Tatum.
Want.
It's going to be Tatum Hill. The quality of that film and those two as a duo are much better. Although, maybe just a quick note for American listeners, obviously over here it's called Bad Neighbours, not Neighbours, due to the popular Australian soap opera.
Right.
That's a few episodes ago. I can't remember which recording we did. We did a nice version of the Neighbours theme tune at the end of our recording. It might have been, it was Best Supporting Actor.
When they were, yes, if you live next door to...
Yeah, if you live next door. Yeah, so if you don't actually want to find out why it can't be called Neighbours in this country, but you want to hear an interpretation of the theme tune as done by us, check at the end of our Best Supporting Actors podcast for a delightful, very musical interpretation. So onto the, I think probably the big award of the whole evening
for your mindset.
Yeah, for the best shirtless performance.
Yeah.
Which again, Zac Efron does make an appearance.
Oh, does he?
Who are you going for?
I'm going for, because I remembered this one.
You remember the topless man, or there is a token woman in there, but she's not going to win.
Chris Pratt from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Because he plays quite a goofball character, and then without it being too showy, he gets his shirt off, and you think, oh, blimey, he's quite, it's quite sort of buff,
well sculpted.
Yeah, well sculpted. That's a nice phrase. And that's a surprise given his character, because you think he's a bit of an idiot.
So you're voting best shirtless performance on an artistic grounds.
Yeah, well, and it's not not overly done. It's not sort of 2 minutes into the film and get the shit. What's his name?
Most of the other ones, I'm sure. Who else we got? Well, Efron probably gets
Well, like Will Smith, he's in a recent film.
Right. I'm going Efron all the way. Apparently, Efron won it last year. No, I think it's going to be an Efron double.
Okay, Efron shoe-in.
Although I did look back through the years. I think they've been doing this is the third year they've done best shirtless performance, and so far, again, which something that did annoy me about this award, this horrible American bubble, is that there's been nothing but identikit white Americans nominated. Hasn't been a single ethnic, and there's been no ethnic diversity in their awards whatsoever.
Right.
So I don't know if they just decide MTV don't like black people or something.
Yeah.
Or just there's less topless black people on film. I don't know.
You're possibly right with that little guess there.
Anyway, on a slightly lighter note, best fight.
I've got a shoe in for this one.
You have a personal favourite.
Back to 22 Jump Street, Jonah Hill versus Gillian Bell.
Okay.
Which is really good fun. So it's a female versus a male, and the qualities of that are really well played out.
There's eye gouging and
there's this sort of sexual tension but done in a really fun way.
Okay, so
it's really good.
Okay, cool. Best kiss.
Well, this is a weird one because I've only watched 2 of the 5 films nominated actually, and I couldn't remember the kiss.
So you've got the gay kiss in the interview, which I did. We did note that just as a nice bit of progressive attitude. They got James Franco and Seth Rogen.
Well, I've seen that film. I couldn't remember that kiss.
It wasn't a big moment in the film.
No. After like I said, the 2 that I've watched, I didn't remember the kiss. So I'm really vague on this one. I would just, if you're gonna put a bet on or something, if you're doing your cumulative bet with your pound or 2.
Yeah,
I would go for one of the 3 other ones.
So not the interview. Is that the?
And my wild guess would be Captain America. I can just.
You reckon? I reckon The Fault in Our Stars. It's teeny. It's going to be feeling. It's going to be emotional. I reckon that's what I'm going for.
Okay, good. Let's go for that then.
Okay. Again, the next one that annoys me. I'm not even going to say the acronym. I'm just going to call it a moment.
Yeah.
Some kind of rubbish moment in film that has
I agree.
Terrible acronymed moment. Yeah. Is what you're going for?
Jonah Hill again. Actually.
So you're going for a good
on a lorry. It is quite a moment. You think, oh my God, Jonah Hill's going to fall off. That's the only thoughts I have on that.
Okay. Best villain, which we did something similar to this in the Vastly Superior Stew Review Awards.
Yeah.
You went for was it Eraser?
Martin Sokas.
Martin Sokas was our particular pick for the best.
How everybody missed out.
How the MTV Movie Awards missed out Martin Sokas.
Stupid, but out of the nominations, I'd go for J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, Whiplash.
Worst imaginable teacher for most people's, especially young people's psyche.
Yep.
You absolutely don't want to teach throwing a chair at you.
Yeah, well, I think sounds good. Not Meryl Streep and her mad wig.
Oh God.
Okay, best musical moment. Did you?
I'd have to say the end of Whiplash, Miles Teller.
Yep, and yeah,
I hadn't noticed
so.
any other.
I did a bit of YouTube research to think I might be able to judge the quality of the piece upon what YouTube had to say. It wasn't great. The Skeleton Twins, people seem to really enjoy their musical numbers. It's like a lip syncing section to Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship. Out of context, it didn't work particularly well, admittedly. People didn't care too much for the musical bit in Guardians of the Galaxy at all. But yeah, going back to what you're saying, jazz, Whiplash, and then can I just make a quick mention, because I do quite like music and I do quite like jazz. Obviously Whiplash, the central piece was by Don Ellis from the album Soaring, the piece Whiplash. And I just want to give a quick mention to the Bad Plus drummer Dave King, who's my favourite jazz drummer of the modern moment, and also maybe a small notion to Dennis Chambers as well, who's been powering on in the jazz scene for a long time.
Some nice extra info there.
It does.
Yeah.
It's good. I said I could do a music podcast. Probably better qualified to do a music podcast, to be perfectly honest. But we're talking film, so we'll move on. But yeah, check out some work by the Bad Plus. He's a very good drummer. Best comedic performance.
Well, nothing made me laugh in the Gardens of the Galaxy or Neighbours, and I haven't seen.
Really, Guardians of the Galaxy didn't get a single chuckle from you.
Not significant.
Okay.
And I haven't seen this film Top 5 or The Wedding Ringer.
It's going to be 22 Jump Street, isn't it?
So yes, so my loose advice would be back to 22 Jump Street.
Yep, I think it's another good call. Yeah,
that is that.
I mean, top 5 stars. Chris
I certainly
Rock,
was laughing.
Yeah, top 5 is starring Chris Rock, so it's probably one of the. I mean, it's going to be close to a made-to-DVD film. I mean, he did like Pootie Tang about sort of 10 years ago.
I'm glad I haven't caught up with that film.
And that was had about 2 funny moments in it. Again, it was practically a made-to-DVD film starring him. Yeah. Which I've got. I might actually. I think I still have on DVD at home. I'll have to.
You have which on DVD?
Pootie Tang, an early Chris Rock film from something like the early part 2000s.
I'm really grateful suddenly that I haven't got a DVD player.
He plays. Oh, your laptop will play it. You've got a CD drive.
Oh damn!
He's some kind of guy who sort of speaks a really cool language that everyone can understand, but no one really knows what he's saying. And he's got a magic belt. And he goes to the country and talks to a piece of corn. That stuff happens. Anyway, last award on the list, best on-screen transformation, which I did find quite interesting because you've got the Redmayne Corral. Because given the fact it's transformation, not necessarily performance, you had Redmayne turning into Hawking, but you had Corral doing the whole sort of DuPont thing in Foxcatcher.
Yeah, I'd go for Corral. Yeah.
You reckon Corral's going to take it over?
Yeah, they'll stick with the American. Oh, no, I don't want to go into the psyche.
Well, what about you personally?
But I think that was
a better transformation.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can play somebody sitting in a wheelchair, but Corral was completely different. You couldn't recognise him.
Yeah, so from actor to end point.
I assume that's what they mean by transformation.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that when I saw it, so I think if it was just in case of like best,
it's not within the film. It's from transformation from the actor to the character.
I would agree, and I think probably Corral is a slightly stronger one in that. Okay, so we've probably run through this quite a bit. We've got probably should we do about 10 minutes if we can. Over the last week, I set Toby a bit of a challenge, which we had been discussing over the last few weeks. Which was I was going to give him a cast and a budget, essentially, and with that he was going to and a series of basically standard film kind of cliche,
conceits.
Sort of conceits. Basically. So and then he's going to construct a film off the back of this. What I gave him to start with was it was going to be a British-made film with a budget of about £5 million. The lead role was going to be Sally Hawkins, who's been in I think Happy Go Lucky, the thingy.
She's also very recently in X+Y.
Oh, that's her most recent performance. Good female actress. Anyway, quite an interesting one.
Good
then
choice.
Support acts was Judy Dench and David.
Awesome choice. Yeah.
Judy Dench of many Oscar nominations past and a few wins, and previous Doctor Who actor David Tennant.
Yeah.
And then as an additional cast member, I was debating. I went with David Tennant's dog Although
Well,
I gave
that.
Toby,
No, I've kept that. Yeah.
we did in discussion. We did have the freedom of saying we could add a child in instead.
Yeah, because I have added a child.
You have added a child.
Yeah, I have as well. So I've got a dog and a child.
Oh, a dog and a child. I was going to say they probably are going to fulfil essentially the same emotional role.
No, it's completely different.
Ooh,
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm
I'm quite
now interested.
Yeah.
So you could choose the genre, whatever you want. Which do you know? Did you decide on a fixed genre in the end?
Well, I can just explain the film that I've got in my head, which it was lovely because it came within 10, 15 minutes of getting your email of saying the cast.
Yeah.
I just went, and I got it. Yeah.
Okay, so does it fulfil a genre, or is it more just something a bit more loose, a character piece?
I don't know how to. I mean, it's not a genre. It's just a social drama.
Okay.
Social drama. I mean,
okay.
It's, yeah.
So shall I just run through some of the key points? Then you can give me a general plot at the end. Because I was intrigued about who was going to be represented.
No, we've only got 5 minutes effectively. So shall I just go straight into it?
Go on, run through it.
Okay. So and you can bring those up.
Sure.
So working title is Rainbow Lane.
Right.
And it's the Sally Hawkins plays a character called Molly.
Right.
And so the film starts with a kind of David Lynchian flashback, probably in black and white, where Molly is going to the fairground that happens to be in Brighton, ends up falling in love with the greasy Dodgem rider, Tennant,
David Tennant,
who I'm just going to call Tennant.
Okay.
Because back in the old days, when Dodgems were more fun and you could go anywhere you liked
and crash into anyone,
and go head on crashes,
give whiplash to all the little kids,
and there would be the greasy guy with a kind of leather jacket or something,
just sort of laughing away as the kids were getting injured,
jumping on the back and helping you steer out of trouble and stuff. Anyway, so he's that sort of character. Then it goes forward. They've got married.
Okay.
Tennant has got a sort of flea-ridden, horrible, big German Shepherd dog, and Molly has to pick up its crap and stuff because Tennant's slack and flaky, and he's kind of lovable if you can look past the flaky and the crap bit, and the fact that he doesn't deal with his dog properly. And it goes on in a kind of Mike Leigh, Ken Loach life in the fairground way. So Judy Dench.
So is it the case? Is Molly then basically kind of entering into this sort of this fairground society? Something
she's
got
utterly sucked into it.
Yeah, utterly unaware. So she's like the nice innocent. But actually, kind of something that kind of Sally Hawkins does quite well.
She had aspirations. I don't know quite how you bring this in, but she had aspirations to go to the art college in Brighton.
Okay.
Right. Judy Dench runs the fair.
Oh, okay.
She's a kind of smoking, hard-talking, but sort of Romany accented character.
That's going to be an interesting one for her to do. I think that's going to be a new one.
Well, we won't actually get her to smoke. We'll just put a sort of unlit cigarette in her mouth and
maybe she could be progressive. Go with the old the sort of electronic cigarettes these days. She's got an evil heart, but a good mentality.
This character would be absolutely doing this. Yeah. So, and she kind of teases. She's quite hard talking. She kind of teases the Molly character for being a end of the rainbow dreamer. So that's a kind of line that references the title.
We've got the conflicts. We've got the good and we've got the bad.
Right. The dog represents the relationship which is dysfunctional.
Okay.
The kid comes in, played by Alex Lawther.
Okay.
And he's doing his best, but he represents Molly's artistic aspirations because he's trying to be a fairground young lad, but he's actually more artistic, and so he represents her previous aspirations.
So he works within the fairground. He's not related to Tennant or Molly or Judy Dench.
He's their child. Yeah, Molly and Tennant's child. Yeah, and so we'll zap it forward to the end of the film.
Yeah, is there a twist? That's the question.
Yes, this is the twist.
Okay.
So she leaves Tennant and she heads to Brighton.
Yeah.
With Alex Lawther, child.
Leaves the dog.
Oh, absolutely. yeah, absolutely. Now then, here's the twist.
Go on. What happens? Turns out Judy Dench also owns.
Judy Dench. I don't know the actual way she will know that Molly has gone back to Brighton, but she tracks her down there.
Right.
Right, and there's this quite complicated scene where she's got two big envelopes.
Yep.
And she
Is it like on a Deal or No Deal or something?
no.
Turns up with
Right.
Noel Edmonds.
Right, so she hands over this big envelope, and it's got a wad of money in it.
Yeah.
And she briefly explains, and it cuts back to Tennant opening the same same package with the same wad of money, and in his package is a note saying, "Look after the fair and look after your women." And Judy Dench goes into a big explanation about how Tennant is actually her son.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
But she'd never even told him because she was raped.
Right.
By this mad fairground, probably a Wheel of Death rider or something, who then got killed in a motorbike accident.
Okay.
So
Is he
he
played
might
by
even have burnt down the second pier in Brighton. I'd quite like to think in that.
Do you have an actor name for that?
For who?
The guy, or is he's just only referred to in narrative, not
yes,
in
it
image?
is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean you'd have
Ray Winston. It's gonna be Ray Winston. Okay. Right.
That's
okay.
not
Ray
bad.
Winston.
That's not bad.
And he can do the voiceover. That's fine.
So it turns out that the Alex Lawther character is her grandson.
Okay. Yep.
Effectively.
Right.
Then she also explains that she's got very advanced cancer.
Right.
Which is why she's handing over everything to money and over the fairground to Tennant.
So is it Tennant that takes it, or is it the case it's left for the son?
So he's left it. So you don't. He's left the money in to run the fair, and he's.
And the money's gone for her education, sort of extra college
Yeah,
education, and the well-being of her son. Okay.
And then she walks off. She walks down the remaining pier in Brighton.
Yeah.
And jumps off the end. And there's a sort of again a David Lynchian sort of dream sequence where she's falling, and you get fairground imagery of her nice bits of her life. So it's making some sort of amends to her harshness and her cancer and things.
Okay.
And so it's a sort of beautiful end.
Yeah.
And then a final shot of Molly.
I think you should end there. Actually, that's quite a nice ending.
Okay,
I think that's
we'll
a
end
nice
it
ending.
there
We'll end it there. I think that's actually quite a good film, Toby. I think that is.
Rainbow Lane.
Remember, all royalties to Toby Hopkins.
Yeah, don't nick it.
If you nick it, I think I need a small payment just for at least giving the cast.
What Raymond's?
I'll get.
Yes, no, absolutely right. That absolutely fit in.
But if anyone does want to make it,
champagne casting.
Indeed, yeah. If anyone does want to make it, send us a message. We'll be happy to write the script.
Yeah.
Or write it yourself and just give us some money if you do. So I think we're pretty much hitting time. That was a good film. Actually, you might have to try that again at some point in the next few weeks.
We'll hear your version.
I've got to prepare one. I'm not going to beat that. That was really good.
Didn't you come up with one?
We discussed the other day about sort of time travelling women and kind of going back in time.
We'll
to
have a
marry
think
people
and come back to the.
Maybe that's going to be a tough one to top. That was a good one. Anyway, we're running out of time, so just quickly, any films to watch this week, Toby?
The one I'm looking forward to is X plus Y, which isn't out locally yet, but I would watch that.
Sally Hawkins star.
Yeah, and Asa Butterfield, is it? Who was in The Boy with the Striped Pyjamas, which I liked, and he was also in. What was that Spielberg? I can't remember. Anyway, he's been in a couple of things, and he's good.
Okay, sounds good as well. We'll leave it there, since we've just passed the half-hour mark. So, goodbye, everyone.
Cheerio and good night. Yeah. And Judy Dench's last line is, "Here's the end of the rainbow, Molly. I really hope you find it."